What do you do if a client isn't sure they want to be on the website platform that you want to work on? That is a really good question. And again, one that tends to come up for newer business owners that are just interested in learning how to niche down. They want to get more specific in who they market to, and maybe that is platform specific. So for me, I tend to only ever work in Squarespace. I have built websites in other platforms. I do not prefer to build them in other platforms. And so Squarespace is the only one that I'm going to offer a service for, which means if I get a potential client or a new lead that needs to be on a different platform, there needs to be a discussion about that, and you need to know ahead of time what you plan to do about it. So before I dive into all that, if we haven't met before, my name is Caitlin and I run Launch the Damn Thing. I am a Squarespace educator, niched down to Squarespace, and a graphic designer of literally almost 20 years now. We are just 2 years shy of it. So a lot of experience. And I am thrilled to be here sharing my experience, my knowledge, my know-how, my expertise with you as a newbie. So on that note, let's dive in and I will walk you through the very basic and quick steps that I will do when I get this person in my inbox. So to dive in, first and foremost, this needs to be an ethical decision. I know that I shouldn't need to say that, but I am going to say that. This is not about what you need. This is about what they need, right? This is their business. If you make a decision in your best interest, it will not affect their business positively. That's where we're going to start. So it needs to be an ethical decision based on what they need, what will work best for them, even if it means you don't get the project. So start with that. The second thing is you can really only offer advice or opinions, suggestions based on what you know. If you aren't sure, then tell them you aren't sure. It's okay for you to not be the expert in 1,000 different platforms. I get a lot of fear around this when I have this discussion with other students, and I understand because you're kind of afraid to say actually, I don't know anything about that, because you don't want them to feel like you don't know anything at all. But the reality is, if you ask a plumber how to fix something on your roof or how to build an addition on your house, they're not going to know the answer, right? Through experience, they may have learned over time some very basic suggestions like you gotta go ask an architect about that, or you gotta ask a roofer, but they're not going to tell you step by step how to do the damn thing. So it's okay for you to not know the answer. Just be honest about it. Just tell them, I don't know which platform you need to be on, but Squarespace might not be the best fit for you in this case. That's okay. The fact is, they're coming to you for the platform that you have expertise in, and if you happen to know that they are not the right fit for the platform you have expertise in, you will do something for their business in their best interest by telling them that fact, even if it means, because ultimately that's you telling them, I understand by telling you this that I will not get this project. That means I am out X $1,000, right? So this is going to build trust and authority maybe for other things. Maybe if they want some business coaching, or maybe down the road you have some sort of template or something else that they can purchase from you that is not a website. Then maybe they'll keep that in mind because you were honest with them in the first place. So ethical decisions. Do things that are in their best interest. Turn it down if it's in their best interest. Don't take on the project if it's not the right fit. If you don't know, tell them you don't know and be honest. Here's what to do if you don't know. Beyond just saying, I don't know, and it's okay that I don't know. You can refer them to other people. You can either refer them to someone who knows more about this thing than you do, or you can refer them to someone who specializes in that particular thing. So you could, for example, if someone came to me for an e-commerce website, it was a larger business, they had a lot of products, Squarespace is not the fit for that. One of the reasons why I like using Squarespace, because I don't like e-commerce projects. Squarespace has the ability to take on basic e-commerce functionalities because that's built into the platform, but that does not mean Squarespace specializes in e-commerce. So if the business is product revenue oriented, meaning that is the bulk of where they earn their money, they don't need to be on a platform that doesn't specialize in that. So what I would do is I would reach out to a couple of design friends that I have specialize in e-commerce and or in a platform I think the client would work well in. So that's not just me saying, I'll send you to these people, you can ask those questions. You can also say, I'll send you to this very specific person who specializes in this platform. I think that might be a good fit for you. So if you don't know, you can refer them to other people. That's totally fine. Other designers love that. What I do not want you to do is to take the project in a new platform if you don't want to learn the platform for your own purposes. So it's one thing if you get a new lead and they're like, I really want to be on Wix, and you already happen to want to learn how to use Wix. Or if they wanted to be on Showit and you already wanted to learn how to use Showit, and this is your opportunity to do and learn at the same time. That's 100% fine if that's what you want to do. But you need to be mindful that doing this will increase your stress level a little bit. It will also slow down your production time, and it will take away from the profit that you get on this project because it will take longer, and you can't just charge more to cover that gap, right? Especially if you don't know. I guess I shouldn't say you can't. You could. I don't think you should charge more to cover that gap. So what I don't want you to do is to take this project if you don't want to learn the platform and you don't want to know it for your own purposes. So for me, for example, I know how to use Shopify. I do not enjoy using Shopify because I don't like product-based businesses. And so if a client came to me and they said, I want to have my shop online, can you help me build that website? Yes, technically I can. But do I want to? No. I do not. And that is a personal decision. I know that if I took that project, dependent on the client, I have done projects like this in the past, and they were great projects. The client was awesome. I had fun. But ultimately, do I prefer to do that over like a website for a coach? No. I much prefer to work with service-based businesses ultimately. So I am doing them a favor by turning that project down and sending them to someone else who loves doing that kind of work, because ultimately that will make the client happier. That will make me happier because I am not doing work that I don't love to do. I will not be stressed or resentful for taking the project on just for the sake of the money. It will not slow down my production time because I get frustrated with the platform. Because ultimately you can't master multiple tools at the same time. You can know a lot about a lot of things. You can know a lot about a little things. But if you know a lot about a lot of things, you can't also be a master in all of the things, because mastering something takes time, experience, all of the things. And if it's just one of the many things that you use, the time and experience just isn't there, right? So I have used Shopify a lot, but I find that every time I log back in there, the UI has changed, things have moved around, they've added new features I don't know how to use, and it's going to take a little bit to get back in the groove of things, and I just don't love it enough to justify doing that to myself every single time. So it will affect your confidence level because of your frustration level, because of your resentment, because of your stress. You don't want to do that to yourself. And because of all of those things, you're going to be less cost effective for the project, because you shouldn't charge like $10K for a project because it's in a platform you don't want. You could, for example, say, I don't really want to do a project in Shopify, but if you want me to do that project in Shopify, I'll do it for double the rate. If you want to be that person, you could totally be that person. That's not me. That's a personal decision. I will not be the person that charges double or triple just because I don't want it. And if they want to work with me that badly, they'll pay for it. That feels a little icky. So I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to say never, but I'm not going to be that person, most likely. So if the client comes to me and they want to do something I don't want to do, I'm just going to turn down the project and send them to somebody else. And that is where we go to the next option. So if you say that you don't take on that work because it's in a platform you don't use or specialize in or have expertise in, you can tell them whatever you want to say. Typically what I say is, I specialize in Squarespace. I don't work in other platforms. That is not defending myself. It's not apologizing. It's just stating a fact, right? I don't actively work in other platforms. The next step would be to send them potentially a list of vetted experts that do work in that platform. So it's always a good idea to have a list kind of in your back pocket of people you can send potential leads to when you are not the right fit for them. So for example, if someone needs copywriting services, it's a good idea to have a couple of copywriters you can send people to. If someone needs custom code on a Squarespace site and you don't know how to do that, it's a good idea for you to have a couple of references you can send potential leads to. If someone wants e-commerce, you need somebody to send them to. So if you send them a list of potential referrals, let's say you turn down the project and you say, but here's a list of people you can contact to see if they are the right fit for you, make sure you remind them, if you haven't worked with these people yourself, that they need to do their own due diligence. You don't want them to assume that you have worked with these people before if you haven't. If you don't know anything about how they work or what they charge or the scope of what they do for the service they offer, you don't want them to assume any of that. It's okay for you to say, these are the people that seem reputable to me. I would go ask them for support and help, and do your own due diligence. I don't know anything about them. I don't know how they work, but they are reputable people. That tells the client you've done some research, you know what they do. It gives them a starting point to find the right service provider for their project without you explicitly saying like, I worked with these people before, they've written copy for me, or they've built a product-based website for me, which is never going to happen. So just make sure you add on that little like sort of disclaimer by saying like, I don't know anything about these people. I've never worked with them myself, but they are reputable people for you to ask questions with. So at least you have a starting point now that I've turned down your project. So anyway, that's as a whole how I would handle how I would handle answering a client question. If they aren't the right fit for me, or if they aren't the right fit for the platform that I specialize in, that's what I would do on like what happens next. How do you have the conversation? And it's not a bad idea to get used to having this conversation while you are on the call. If you are talking with the client, even if you like the client, the lead, let's say, they're not a client yet. If you like them, if the conversation feels good, just totally be honest with them and say, I don't think I'm the right fit for this project. I don't work in that platform, but I have a couple referrals for you. I'll send you an email after we hop off so that you have somewhere to start, but I'm not the right fit to take this and I just don't want to waste your time. That's okay. You can totally say that. It's your business. You can do what you want. All right. That's all I have for you in this video. I hope that was helpful. If it was helpful for you, either like this video, leave a comment below. It really does help. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.